Songwriting can feel so elusive and magical. Listening to a well-crafted song can evoke so many emotions and actually dictate a genuine state of happiness or sadness. It can make you reminisce about fond or painful memories. It can motivate you to move, to dance. It can give you goosebumps. And if it's particularly catchy, that hook will go round and round in your head for days. This video is the first in a 4-part series brought to you by DistroKid. I want to show you how I start with nothing and end up with something to put out into the world. This episode is all about songwriting, and then the subsequent videos will be about recording, making music videos, and finally distribution and marketing. And I'll give you all the tools I employ to make sure your music reaches as many people as possible. If you don't know what DistroKid is, it's the platform I personally use to get my music up online and available to download and stream. If you're writing and recording songs, you need to put the music where people are actually listening. DistroKid is the only service that lets you upload unlimited music, starting from just $19.99 per year. With the link in the description, you'll get 7% off, and it's pretty great for me because sometimes I have to act quite quickly, and they take a fraction of the time other services take to get your music up on the stores. They have incredible customer service, detailed statistics, loads of features, and it's just so quick and simple. By this point in my career, I have trialed a fair few, and it's by far the most suitable thing for me. Also, they give you that official Spotify blue tick, verifying your artist page and making you look even more professional. Why did I start writing songs? I was bullied from age 7 to 13, quite severely. Then as a teenager, I wouldn't describe myself as the most popular kid in school. It's not uncommon for teenagers to suffer from a lack of self-confidence, but I did find it very difficult to communicate not only words, but my opinions and ideas. And I was obsessed with songwriters. I was obsessed with bands and musicians and listening to music. And when it came to writing songs, at first I didn't think I had anything of value to write about. And that might be a thought and feeling you share. I was 14 when I wrote my first full song, and I wasn't exactly experiencing major, tremendous heartbreak or adventure, nor broadening my horizons with travel or meeting new people. I was just at school, doing school things. The first song I wrote, though, actually was about a friend stealing my then boyfriend. One of those relationships that last about 5 minutes. Because this was the first thing to really inspire me to write, what I found was that I could actually manipulate the song and tell the story from any point of view. So I could, instead of making the audience angry towards her, I actually made the audience feel sympathetic. Once I discovered and realized I could do that, it opened up my imagination, and I could take kind of mundane subjects and transform them into better stories. So I started to create mini worlds for myself within 3.5 minutes of music. It can be incredibly cathartic to write a song, especially when you take all the external pressures away. And it's why anyone who's interested in a career in music should try and write songs. So here are some rules I follow. Obviously, this is my opinion, and the best thing about songwriting is that there actually isn't a rule book to follow. You can't wait for inspiration. It just simply doesn't happen every day. When you're starting out, the best thing to learn is how to write a song without feeling inspired. Because even when you do get that inspired feeling, you have to realize it is really unreliable, and one day it might just disappear altogether.
Inspiration doesn't stay with a lot of artists very long. It's very brief, and then you're in the game and you got to keep it, sustaining it with something, right?
Sometimes I do feel the urge to sit down and write a song. The weirdest thing is that it definitely doesn't happen every day, and sometimes it doesn't happen every week. Maybe try and think of it as therapy. Is there anything that you are particularly worried about? Maybe just putting those ideas down on the page might help you. I try and make sure that when I am actually in that sort of state of flow and writing, I write until I can't write anymore. So writing until I can't find the right words or just the music isn't clicking. And I'm now aware that I rarely finish a song in one go. So I've learnt to put the guitar down as soon as I've lost that feeling and to move on, move away from my desk and go and do something else. One thing that's helped me is that I try not to worry about whether or not I'll ever be able to write again, because that only gives me more anxiety, and then I'm really likely to suffer from writer's block. If you are suffering from writer's block, go do something else creative, or do something physical. Use your hands, get out of your own head and get out of your own way. There is something that's helped me avoid writer's block, and that's to always be writing. Anything. Seriously. Literally jot down what you did that day and almost aim to write a bad song or a bad idea. And remember, don't even try to overcomplicate it and get too clever. Just know that that idea might not make a full song, and be okay with that. Come to terms with it. It might not even make sense, but when you come back to it, you might have the beginning of a diamond in the rough. Educate yourself. I didn't study songwriting at school. I did study classical music, which might have helped, but not consciously. 99.9% of successful songwriters didn't study songwriting or music at college or university. Maybe don't fact check that. I made that percentage up. However, that's not to say they didn't listen and study unofficially. Really listen to your favorite music and the albums that are deemed great and analyze them. But it doesn't have to be in a music theory or technical way. Just figure out what you like about it. Maybe it's a chord, maybe it's just the vibe, maybe there is that one note that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. When I'm heavily drawn to any artist enough to put them on repeat, I try and find out who they were influenced by. That helps me discover other music that I'm very likely to enjoy, and also broadens my knowledge of the genre. Bob Dylan said it best. It is only natural to pattern yourself after someone, but you can't just copy someone. If you like someone's work, the important thing is to be exposed to everything that person has been exposed to. Look further back. Who inspired that songwriter? What happened to them? What can you learn? Work out what you enjoy listening to. My songs are often about heartbreak and locations, and funnily enough, I enjoy listening to songs about heartbreak and locations. I've checked myself when it comes to genres, and the best way to keep on doing what you're doing is to really love it. Don't force yourself into a genre or niche that you aren't embedded in already, just because it might be popular. If you're not obsessed with electronic music, don't try and write and perform electronic music. I learned that the hard way. Choose a lane, and once you've found your thing and created a body of work, that's when you can branch out and explore a little more and collaborate with other artists. But you need a foundation to build on first. Be specific. When it comes to lyrics, the cleaner the sentence, the better. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Don't be insecure, because as soon as you are, your listener can sense it. They won't connect with the music, and they'll know that you're not being genuine. Sometimes it might be too much. You might go too far. It might be too cheesy, but that's better than not giving enough. For example, one of my favourite artists, John Mayer, had the song I Still Feel Like Your Man, and there was that famous shower lyric, I still keep your shampoo in my shower in case you want to wash your hair. I initially hated it. Everyone else was around me talking about that one lyric, and I felt like it really took me out of the song. But then I went through a breakup, and when that song came on, I had my own equivalent shampoo moment. Some things take time, and some things grow with your audience too. Songs, of course, don't have to be autobiographical, but sometimes something happens that hits hard and inspires me to write. However, I do really think it's important to use your imagination, but you almost have to get to a point where you believe the story yourself, so you're really invested in it. The trick is to never let your audience know what is real and what isn't, because that's not your responsibility as an artist. Once the song is complete, it's about the one consuming it. The music I actually put out is essentially for someone else to listen and respond to, for them to apply their own life. It's not my job to worry about what they think of it. It's just my duty just to keep writing. Be insular. Write for yourself. I often write some songs for me that will never see the light of day, and that's okay. Don't show off a new song until you're really, really ready. Also, remember that your family and friends are not likely to be your audience. They might not love it, and that's okay. There is always time to find your audience. Don't be in a rush, because once you give one thing and people like it, they'll expect more from you. And that leads me on to time pressure. I've made it known that I have a pet hate when it comes to successful songwriters saying that they wrote that #1 hit in just 20 minutes. It might give the illusion that that's possible for everyone and that's how you should write, but for me, it's the 10,000 hours that they've put into it for them to be able to be the songwriter that writes something in 20 minutes. That's the really sexy part, because that's down to hard work and graft. Also, it's important to not beat yourself up if you aren't ever the songwriter that writes something in 20 minutes. In the words of Leonard Cohen, I wish I were one of those people who wrote songs quickly, but I'm not, so it takes me a great deal of time to find out what the song is. Music first or lyrics? How you work is how you work. Don't worry about how someone else writes. Find the thing that works for you and double down on it. I've often felt overwhelmed with how I think I should be writing. Lyrics or music first, guitar or piano or a cappella. Should I just start using a loop on Logic or Ableton and just sing over that? We can talk about processes all day, but I now know how to get myself into the best position to actually even write a song. And I have to have a guitar in my hands. I also enjoy typing my lyrics rather than handwriting, and I do both at the same time. It's just quicker for me to get my ideas down. That's how I work, but that's not how you should work. But one thing I really recommend is to document every second. And thankfully, with phones, it's now easier than ever. No matter how good the hook is to that song, unless you have an incredible memory, you will forget it. And there is no harm in actually making sure that you record every single session. You can always scrap the ideas later, but making sure you catch the idea in the first place is really important. It also takes the pressure away from your future self, because you can always take a break and come back to it knowing that it's waiting, which will help you follow the always be writing rule. Last but not least, and something I have to live with every week when I upload to this channel, done is better than perfect. Being a perfectionist is just another excuse for not finishing something. It's fear and a lack of trust in yourself. Finish it, move on, and make space for the next thing. Learn how to get the best out of yourself, but also learn how to let go. Otherwise, you are really gonna suffer at this game. So, happy songwriting. I hope this video motivates you to create something. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, comment below with your thoughts, and of course, subscribe. I wanna say a massive thank you to DistroKid for making this series possible. They've made my life so simple, and I genuinely appreciate their ethos and how they liberate independent musicians. So find out more details by clicking the link in the description and sign up so you can start releasing those songs you've written. And here's a nice quote to end on. Every child is an artist. The challenge is to remain an artist after you grow up. See you next week.